Hi, it's Rochelle with Red Deer Public Library, and I'm being joined tonight by Bailey, who is with the Central Alberta Sexual Assault Support Center here in Red Deer, and she is going to be doing part 2 of our Respect Us sessions.
Awesome. Thank you for that introduction. I'm looking forward to this presentation.
Okay, good.
Screen share. All right, there we go. All right, yay, I did it. Okay. All right. So now that I have that up, all right, I'm ready, Rochelle. Well, hello everyone. Thank you for joining Rochelle and I for this evening for our iRespect Us Part 2 program. So last week and the week before, you had Kaylee, who is my coworker, who did myself and Us 1. I'll be doing Us 2 and Healthy Dating Relationships on November 3rd. Just FYI, I'm at home, so if my dog starts barking, I apologize. She likes to bark at any car or anyone who's outside the house, so cross fingers that she doesn't. But if she does, again, apologies. So in our presentation today, I'll be asking some questions, reflective questions. So if you're at home, just think about the questions that I'm asking you, write them down and see how you feel about them. I'm also going to be showing you 3 videos. So give me grace with that. I have to figure out how to stop sharing and come back and do all that stuff. But yeah, so we're gonna start. So obviously we're not in a classroom, but we are on Zoom here and on Facebook Live, and there's still always some expectations, I guess, for myself. So this is a new topic, a topic that we don't always talk about. So I do encourage you to be open to new ideas that I'm presenting today. In the chat, you can share your personal opinions as you feel comfortable, and I'm sure Rochelle can answer them for you or let me know about them. You're going to listen and hopefully show respect to myself and others who are chatting as well. And again, only speak for yourself and not the other participants. So last time that you guys, or if you were last time listening, Kaylee talked about the see, hear, feel activity, where we're seeing, hearing, and feeling different parts of our relationship and about your school. You're going to stop, think, feel, and act. So before you do anything in any conflict resolution, you're going to stop, think, feel, and then you're going to act. You guys learned about I statements and about your personal power. So today, all that's going to kind of be rounded together to make it make more sense. All right, so I have this image on the screen. It is an iconic image, a superhero that a lot of people recognize and know. So this is Spider-Man, and he has a very famous quote. Now, before I show it to you, I want you to reflect and think about what you think that quote is. We'll give you like 30 seconds to think of that very special quote that Spider-Man says in the movie. So that quote is, "With great power comes great responsibility." Okay, so I'm going to read that again. With great power comes great responsibility. Okay, so that is a really powerful statement. And it resonated with us educators a lot because the last time that you guys learned was all about how to use your power in a positive way. So this statement is, with great power comes great responsibility. Okay, and while we go through our presentation today, just keep this in the back of your mind. So we're going to be talking about what bullying is and how we can prevent bullying from happening. All right. So my next slide here is bullying behavior. Okay. So I want you to think about what is bullying? What is that definition of bullying for you? Okay. It may be different for everyone, or it may be the same. Okay. So I want you to reflect of what your definition of what bullying is. So our definition is, bullying is a behavior that is intentionally mean, cruel, or hurtful. It involves using power in a negative way to hurt others. Okay. Bullying behavior is a misuse of power and is intentionally cruel and hurtful behavior. It is often repeated and definitely it's unwanted. So bullying is on and on and on, and it keeps going. Okay. Bullying can be repeated and is unwanted aggressive behavior by one or more child or youth, and it can even happen here with adults as well. Okay. So now, I usually do this activity in the class and it's an interactive activity. Obviously, we're not interacting. So if you have a piece of paper around you, I encourage you and invite you to write down 3 examples of any bullying behavior that you have witnessed, meaning you've seen, that you have heard, and maybe you felt it. Maybe you felt that bullying behavior. So kind of like our see, hear, feel activity, but I want you to write down 3 examples of any bullying behavior that you have either seen, you have heard, or you have felt, right? And I'll give you about 30 minutes to do that, and then we'll move on. So I just want to know the bullying behavior. Okay, what is the bullying behavior that you've witnessed, right? And then we're going to do that a little bit in a bit about what all this means. So keep writing while I keep talking. So to help you out with that, there are 4 main types or categories of bullying behavior, and they are verbal, physical, social, and cyber. Okay, so these are the 4 that we'll be learning about today. So the first one is verbal, and this one obviously explains itself, right? So the use of words to hurt another person. The next one is physical bullying behavior, using physical force or aggression against another person. So again, when we think of bullying, we automatically think of physical bullying, which, you know, isn't wrong, but there's as you can see, there are 4 types of it. This is just one of them. We have social bullying. Social and verbal can go hand in hand depending on your situation. So social bullying behavior is harming someone through ignoring, isolating, excluding, or spreading rumors, trash talking, and breaking up friendship on purpose. Okay, this is on purpose. Next is cyberbullying. So now that we're in this new world, our new generation, we're on the computer a lot more social media is happening, and we have to figure out how to navigate this new world. So cyberbullying has skyrocketed for sure. So that's when someone repeatedly harasses, mistreats, or makes fun of another person online using social media or while using cell phones or other electronic devices. So now with your sticky notes, I want you to go back, or your piece of paper, and I want you to write one of the 4 onto your sticky note. So Was your example more verbal? Was one of your examples more physical? Was your example more cyber? Was your example more social? Which category does it go into? There could be 1 and 2, right? Like social and verbal could go together if you're in a group, like a social group. You could be socially bullied in your friend group verbally, right? So a lot of girls, I'm just going to use that, we're very verbal with each other, and in a group we can be definitely a little mean. And I have an example coming up about that. So we just categorize your behaviors, essentially. So with saying that, I have a video I would like to share. This video is quite deep, and it rounds out my presentation and sets it up very well about all the different types of bullying. I want you to think about, while you're watching this, how it's making you feel. What can you do different? And how can we make that change, right? So bear with me. I'm going to stop sharing here for a second. And I am going to the video. Here we are. All right. So I'm just going to stop sharing for a second. I have to figure out the audio here because it's not embedded into the PowerPoint, and it's coming out of a different source than my normal one. But you don't really need audio in this one. The other ones, we'll see if they work, and if they don't work, we'll see. While watching it, you can understand what's happening. So I'll let you guys still watch it without audio for the moment. I was muted. Oh, technology. Oh my God. We'll get this. We'll get this. All right. That was What's the Day Today video about bullying, and it really did a great job of introducing all the different types of bullying that I'll be talking about today. Again, how did it make you feel? It made me feel really upset. It made me really sad. I remember I did this presentation not too long ago, and I had a couple kids though say to me it made them feel inspired or motivated because at the end that girl finally stood up. She finally told the teacher what was going on. And I found that pretty powerful, that she finally stood up after she saw the things. And we always tell the kids that we work with all the time, sometimes you can't intervene right away, and that's okay. You don't have to always intervene, depending the situation, depending the power that's going on and who it's with. But we do encourage you and want you to tell someone who can help and stop the bullying. All right. So that's what we have to do, is to stop it. All right, so roles in a bullying situation. We have the person who bullies or does the bullying behavior. We have the person who is targeted by the bullying behavior, and the person or people who witnesses the bullying or the incident. So they would be the bystanders. So it goes into a triangle, a flow. So again, you have the person who bullies, does the bullying. That goes into the person who is targeted, to the person who is a witness, back up. Okay, so it just goes into our triangle, right? So I have this big quote here. Bullying is about what people do rather than who they are. Okay. Bullying is about what people do rather than who they are. So that's a really big statement. Okay, and I wanted you just to take a moment and think about what that means and why it's so powerful. So I'm going to go right into cyberbullying. Now, some questions to think about at home. Have you learned about anything about cyberbullying this year in school or with your parents? Do you know what being a good digital citizen means? And what did you learn? What does that mean to you? So if you want to write down about 2 or 3 examples of what you learned and how you can be a better digital citizen, I would encourage you to do that. If not, all good. So we have a quote, another quote here. I think online it's easier to say mean things because you're not face to face and you're hiding behind a screen. Okay, so that's another big statement that we have. I think it's online's easier to say mean things because you're not face to face and you're hiding behind a screen, which is true, right? It's easier to be mean and be rude to someone on your social media, making mean and rude comments, than it is to their face. Because if you're talking to someone, you can understand their tone, you can see their facial expressions, you can see what their body language is. Online, and if you're doing comments, you don't know their tone, you don't know their body language, you don't know any of that. So you think it's okay to hurt someone behind a screen, but in reality, it's not. It's really bad. So I want to ask you a question about this quote. Do you agree with this quote? Why or why not? Okay, so I just kind of explained it. Do you agree with this quote? You don't have to agree with me, but right, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. When someone says something hurtful online, how is it different from when it happens to you offline? Okay, so offline means when you're not on the computer, right? So if you know this person is offline, you may be more likely to think they are joking and not to do anything. People that you only know online may seem less like real people and more like video game characters. You are unsure if they meant to hurt your feelings or not. Okay. So now we're going to go in, or before I do that, actually, we do have another video. I'm going to try and see if it works. If it doesn't, I'm just going to move on. So give me a second. Let's see if this works, everybody. Here. Talent show, but I'm going to. All right, so I hope that one worked and that you guys could see it and hear it. If you couldn't hear it, the talent show video was a junior high girl coming up and saying really, really mean and hurtful things to one of the girls in the audience. So anyway, I guess it didn't play. I don't know what's going on with the videos, so we're not going to watch videos. So I'm just going to like talk to you about them then. All right, so next slide. So offline and online. We're going to talk about offline and online and the difference of the two. So being offline means we can see them. So offline ones, we're not on the computer. We can hear the tone of their voice. So tone just means if someone's really happy, it obviously changes. Like right now, I'm really happy. I'm excited to be here. But if I was sad, obviously my voice and my body language would be different. Or if I'm angry, obviously my tone would change to a little more, not as a little harsher, a little louder, that kind of stuff. They can see and hear you. Things said can disappear. Only people around you can hear you. And you can see how people react to what is being said and done. Okay? But if you're online, so on the computer, we can't see them. We can't hear them. They can't see or hear you. And everything said and done can be read and seen later. Okay, so even though you delete something, it's not always physically deleted. It could always be in a cloud. It can be all these different things. So just be careful of what you say and what you send. Many people can read what you have said or done. So, if you're somewhere with the coworkers around, they may have seen it. What we can't see, how people react to what is being said or done, right? So again, with that body language and your facial expressions, when you're online doing a comment to someone or typing an email, you obviously can't see their reaction of what's going to be, right? So next, some considerations to think about while you're when you're offline and online, okay? How can you reduce the chances of hurting someone's feelings offline? So these are some things to think about, some things to ponder, some things to write down for yourself, okay? How can you reduce the chances of hurting someone's feelings offline? So remember, offline is when you can physically see them and be with them, right? How can you tell if you have hurt someone else's feelings without meaning to? Okay, this happens a lot, but how can you tell immediately that if you've hurt someone's feelings? How can you make that better? Okay, what are the next steps for you? How can you make things better if you have hurt someone else's feelings without meaning to? So if you've hurt someone's feelings, how can you help it? How can you help them feel better about it? They didn't mean to, and the other way around, right? How should you react if someone hurts your feelings online? So if someone was online right now and in your comments saying really hurtful things about what you're doing, about what you said, about what you're wearing, this and that, what can you do about it? Are you the type of person that will go after them, meaning that you're going to keep on doing the comments? Are you going to ignore it and block them and or restrict them and go tell someone about it, right? Maybe you need to report them. If you're on TikTok, maybe you have to report it to TikTok, or if you're on Instagram, report it to them, right? Don't let anyone else hurt your feelings or what you are doing online, okay? So when we see our behaviors as being anonymous and use that as an excuse to be mean, hurtful, and disrespectful to others, we are contributing to unsafe school and unhealthy relationships with our friends and classmates. It's like we talked about on the first day with Kaylee. We don't have to like someone or even know them, but they do deserve to be treated with respect and not to be hurtful and picked on. And that goes with online interactions as well, right? So you don't have to like everyone, but you do need to be respectful of everyone, okay? So there are rules for online behavior. So you may not think that there are, but there actually is, all right? So the reality with cyberbullying is that we don't see anyone as being impacted as we get stuck thinking it's our right to say and do what we want with others. But it's never our right to treat others with disrespect. Okay, I will share 4 tests with you, things I want you to be aware of before you do say or post anything on social media. All right, so these are just some things to consider before you post or do anything online. Okay, so first you have the golden rule. We all know what the golden rule is, right? Treat others the way that you want to be treated. So obviously we all want to be treated with respect and kindness, right? I know none of us want to be disrespected, right? That's just not what we want. We want to be treated with respect and kindness and laughter and happiness. So would you want that to be said or shared about you? So think about that. So think about before you do anything. If it's not the way that you want to be treated, don't share it, don't say it, don't do it, okay? Next is your social media test. Would you want our social media accounts, followers, and larger internet platforms we use to share about what you have done or said online? Are you wanting positive posts or negative degrading comments? Would you care if it was a negative message? And what would that impact you and your school or family life? Right? Again, we're wanting positive messages. Right? You may not like what everyone's doing or understand their opinion, but that's their opinion, right? We have to learn to compromise. We have to learn to ignore something, right? Respond and don't react, right? So if you're too passionate about a subject that someone else is talking about and is the opposite of what you want, maybe just, move away from that and do something else. You don't have to do mean or rude comments. That's not what we want. Okay. Next is your trusted adult test. This one's really big. I remember my parents always telling me this, right? So would you want your trusted and safe adults, example, like your parents, your grandparents, your teachers, to hear and see what you have posted and said online? So I want you to think about that. So before you post something online, make sure that there's a lot of other people online. Your grandma may know and find you, or a teacher may find you, or if you're older, maybe an employee. I was always been told, if you're looking for a job or you have a job that you like and you've posted something offensive or posted something that is utterly not kind and that people won't agree with, maybe we shouldn't post that. Not everything needs to be up on social media. So the trusted adult test is huge. And your last one is the real world test, right? So like our videos that I couldn't really show you, it's okay to say and do things face to face to a classmate you don't like or other students you don't know. Okay. Would someone who doesn't know what's going on and who sees the behavior think it was respectful and appropriate or unsafe? Or could it be safe? So an outside perspective, if they went to your Facebook or your Instagram and they saw a couple disrespectful posts, but they didn't understand the content around it, we have to think about that there's a lot of people that aren't always in our circle that can come and find us. And we do have to put some content around that. And again, that goes into trusted adult test, right? Again, your employees, when you try to get a job, they do research you. So make sure the things you post are appropriate and kind and respectful, all right? So we're going to go right into what teasing is, because we always, I know a lot of the kiddos, we get confused about teasing and bullying. Are they the same thing? And they're different in different ways. Teasing can become bullying, and we're going to see why and how in just a moment. So teasing can be positive, friendly, and fun. So like inside jokes, teasing back and forth with a friend, right? So teasing can actually be a normal part of a strong, healthy relationship. When teasing is positive, it is fun and playful. Teasing can be having fun with someone, an inside joke, like I said. It can help friends feel closer. We call this positive or friendly teasing. But it can also be negative and make someone feel embarrassed, right? Like making fun of someone and how they look or how they act. If you have to say just kidding after you've made that joke, maybe it wasn't a good tease, okay? Teasing can become bullying when the teasing is negative and occurs repeatedly by a person who has more power and influence among their peers. Okay? The intention is to make the person being teased feel angry, humiliated, and hurt. Okay? Sometimes we try to make the teasing sound better by saying it was just a joke or by using sarcasm. Usually it's because we truly believe that we're saying is a funny thing to tease about. Maybe we've heard other people do the same thing, but most times, if I have to end my teasing with just kidding or an explanation as to why I said something that usually means I was being mean without being obvious, or did something I know was wrong, but hoped would be funny. Okay, so again, it depends your audience, it depends your friends, it depends where you're going. But again, if you have to say just kidding, that's a negative part of teasing. So that goes into teasing can become bullying behavior. So that's when it becomes negative and it keeps repeating. Repeats by a person who has influence or power among their peers. Intention is to make someone feel humiliated, embarrassed, to make fun of them. So is it teasing or is it bullying? Okay, so we're going to again go dive into this. Is the behavior going both ways? Are both people having fun? Okay. Has this happened before with this individual, with this person that you're going back and forth with? Is there a power imbalance? Does one person have more power influence than the other? So meaning age and your culture, or the grade that you're in, all these different power imbalances. So now we're going to do a scenario, and I want you to kind of think about if it's a positive or if it's a negative teasing. All right. All right, so positive or negative teasing. John and David have been friends since kindergarten. Ever since they were little kids, they've played video games together. While they play, John will often sarcastically say to David, "I thought you were good at this game. You shouldn't be embarrassed by how bad I'm kicking your butt right now." David often replies with things like, "Yeah, you must not get out much considering how much you play this game, eh? I'd be good too if this was all I ever did and had no life." This line always makes John crack up laughing because David has been saying it since they were in grade 4, when they really did have no life. They finished the game and plan to meet again tomorrow after school to play. Now, before I tell you, I want you to think about that. And if you are able, you can read the scenario again. Is this positive teasing? Is it normal? Is it fun? Is it playful? Or is it negative? Does one person feel embarrassed? Does one person getting hurt, upset, or angry? Which one could it be? So I'll give you about 30 seconds to think about your answer, if it's positive or negative teasing. So this is positive friendly teasing because John and David, they're good friends. Both were enjoying the banter back and forth and no one was upset or hurt. So as you see at the last line, right, this line always makes John crack up laughing because David has been saying it since they were in grade 4, right? They finished the game and plan to meet again tomorrow. So no one was hurt in it. They were back and forth playing. They've known each other for a long time. So this was a positive teasing experience. So our next one, is this positive or negative? Let's see what this one is. So this one is, Ryan got a new haircut. One day on the bus heading home from school, Ryan's friend Jason was bugging him about his new haircut and saying things like, "When are you signing up for the military? And did your mom cut your hair?" Jason is laughing and some of the other kids on the bus laugh too. Jason keeps telling Ryan he is just joking, but Ryan's face starts to turn red with embarrassment as others overhear. Ryan thinks others may start to join in and comment too. So, is this positive teasing or is this negative teasing? Sounds a little different than the first one. So give you about 30 seconds to think about that, and it's positive or negative. Is someone getting hurt in this one or is it playful? All right, so this one is negative teasing. Jason was criticizing and embarrassing Ryan. Ryan was feeling very embarrassed and other people on the bus were starting to laugh and join in, right? So this is where bystanders come in, right? No one was standing up for Ryan, right? So that's unfortunate. So this has become a negative and this has become a bullying situation, right? So when teasing becomes one-sided and is used to hurt the other person, it can become bullying. If you remember, bullying is hurtful behavior that is repeated over time between the same people who have a power imbalance. Bullying and teasing can be physical, social, verbal, or happen online. Okay, so this one was verbal and it was social. Okay, so next we're going to go into something called empathy. Okay, so have you ever heard of this word empathy? And if you have, I want you to think about what that means to you and how it makes you feel. Why don't you just say the word empathy? So I know personally that I am a super, super empathetic person. I feel a lot for other people. And to me, I feel that is a great characteristic and a great quality. It comes easy to me. Empathy sometimes does not come easy for other people. You do, if it does not come easy to you, you do have to work on empathy, and I'll explain why. So, empathy is the power of understanding and imagining another person's feelings and seeing their point of view. Okay, so you're stepping into someone else's shoes, is what we usually say. Okay, step out of your own judgment and go into theirs. What are they thinking? What are they feeling? What are they seeing? Right? So empathy is the power of understanding and imagining another person's feelings and seeing their point of view. Okay, so why do you think someone using empathy is less likely to use bullying behavior? So I want you to think about that question. Why do you think someone using empathy is less likely to use bullying behavior? Why is that? Because empathy is the power of understanding another person's feelings and seeing their point of view. So how is that less likely to have a bullying effect? You know, what do you think about that? So they understand how hurtful bullying is and how it makes a person feel. Okay. So here's another question. Why is it more likely that a person with empathy will help someone being bullied? Okay. Why is it more likely that a person with empathy will help someone being bullied? So remember, empathy motivates us to include others, treat them with respect, and stand up for them when we see someone treating them in a hurtful way, because we are stepping into their shoes. If you go back to Ryan, he was getting bullied by people on the bus because of his haircut. Now think about that for the golden rule. Would you want that to happen to you? I don't think so. So we're going to step into his shoes. Okay, he's obviously feeling embarrassed. He was getting red in the face. His heart was probably pounding. He probably wanted to cry. He probably wanted to leave the bus. Okay, so that's where we need to step in and stand up for him, right? Maybe say some words like, that's not very nice. Maybe we shouldn't be talking about his haircut. Maybe saying something nice about his haircut. Like, wow, what a great haircut. It looks great on you. Who did that? Where's that hairdresser? So trying to feel how they feel. That's what empathy is. So I have some empathy statements to help us with situations. So our first one is, I saw and it made me feel. Sorry, where am I? There. This is describe what happened and how you felt in the situation, right? So example, Paulo calling Sanjay names. It made me feel angry. Your next statement, they may have felt. So think about how the person feels in the situation and what was happening. So example, Sanjay looked like he felt embarrassed and hurt. Paulo felt powerful as he made everyone laugh and pay attention to him. And your third statement, they may need. So think about what this person might need immediately and in the future to prevent or stop the bullying from happening. Right? Example, Sanjay needs to know those hurtful comments are not true and he doesn't not deserve to be bullied. Paulo needs to be told what he did and was not okay, and everyone has a right for safety and respect. Okay, so think about these statements of empathy, of how you feel, and how you can put these into a bullying situation, right? So if you think about the first video, no, we couldn't hear it, but what did we see and how did that video make you feel? They may have felt, how did that little boy feel? Or how did that girl feel? So what do you think that boy needed? Right? He needed someone to stand up for him. He needed his teacher to believe him, right? There's a lot to unpack with that video. So these are some 3 empathy statements to think about to help you in a situation. Now it takes practice, all right? But they're just some things to think about. So unfortunately, there is impacts with bullying, all right? So there's short-term impacts. So we have 4 different types of short-term impacts. We have mental impacts, so feeling anxious, having low self-esteem, trouble concentrating. We have physical impacts, having trouble sleeping. You maybe have headaches, dizziness, stomach pains. Your social impacts, so missing school, you're isolated, lack of social relationships, and it can impact your family. So maybe there's increased security at home. Maybe you're starting to lie to your parents or to who's ever looking after you. Worried about parents becoming overprotective. This one's a big one. So we tell everyone, if you are in a bullying situation and you do tell, let's say, your safe parent at home, their reaction is to go into protective mode. And that's okay for them. But we may have to dial that down, parents. But that's, again, another boundary thing, another thing that we do have to talk about. So next we have long-term. So like this could be months and years down the road that could happen to you if you get bullied constantly. So these are some of the things that unfortunately may happen if you are in that situation. So it doesn't happen to everybody, but these are just the things that possibly could happen. So mental impacts, lots of anxiety, low self-esteem, poor mental health. You have physical impacts like poor health later in life, not eating right, not sleeping. Later in life, you may go to drugs and alcohol, right? To numb that pain, to numb those memories. Your social impact, lack of social relationships. You may drop out of school, lower level of employment, just because you have all of these things. So I just want you to think about that the next time that you're thinking, is this a nice comment or this not a nice comment, or how can I help someone with your empathy, right? So there are impacts to bullying no matter what. So with that comes our Kids Help Phone. So some resources. So we love to support Kids Help Phone. I know it says kids in the title, but they go all the way up to age 25. Okay? So if you need a one-on-one time with someone and you want to know what something's happening in your life, or you have a situation like a bullying situation and you don't know who to turn to, well, Kids Help Phone is here for you. Okay, they're there 24/7 a day. They're there on the weekends. They're there through holidays. Okay, there is a trained counselor on the other side to help you. It's anonymous. You can call them, you can web chat them, and you can text them. So there's 3 different amazing options. Okay, and the phone number is on here if you would like to write it down. They also have a crisis text line. Okay, so I know a lot of us have cell phones, so texting may be easier than web chat or phoning. So the crisis text line is powered by Kids Help Phone, provides confidential texting support for any issues, big or small. You don't need a data plan, internet connection, or an app to access it. So that is a really cool thing that they have. So there's the number right there. And it kind of tells you everything about what happens, right? So that is just another great resource. They also have an app that you can put onto your cell phone. So it's called the Always There app. It's been revamped to focus on one thing, providing young people with a positive chat experience. With the Always There app, you can chat one-on-one with a professional counselor, stay connected, get notifications when chat is open, access the services 5 days a week during chat hours. So it's not open 24/7 like their phone line, only during their chat hours. And the chat is in English or French. So you can also download that. So that's a really great resource. So what can you do? See where I am on my page. So what can we do? We can say something in a situation in bullying. We can defend, right? So it's okay to stand up for yourself and stand up for someone else. Distract the bullying situation. So maybe tell that person, oh, can you grab me a pencil, or can you go and get me a coffee? Question the situation. What's going on? Put yourself into that empathy statement. Check in with yourself and check in with the person that may have been bullied. So maybe go back to Ryan. So if you were on that bus and you did hear all those comments, but you didn't stand up, but maybe you're in the check-in phase, like, hey, I heard what they're saying, it wasn't very nice. How are you doing? How can I help you? How can I support you? So check-in is super, super important and puts you into that empathy state. Again, we're going to show empathy. And then we need to go tell an adult. We're going to go tell someone what has happened. And don't get me wrong, it is hard to go tell an adult or someone else a situation that's happened. You may think they won't believe you. You may think that you're getting in trouble. That is not the case. Okay, as long as you have all your stuff there, they will believe you. Okay, tell them the situation that happened and they'll get you the help. Okay, so we all have an important role in standing up for all kids, not just our friends, to ensure their safety. We know that bullying is about using power in a negative way. We also know that most bullying happens when other people are watching. If you ever witness a bullying situation, you may or may not have stepped in to stop the bullying. When you saw it take place, stepping up and intervening in a bullying situation is just like any other skill. The more we know about it, the more we practice and the better we become at it. Okay. So we have I usually hand this out, but because we're online, you guys can get your own piece of paper out. And we like to do a pledge. Okay, what can you do? So what is one thing that you personally pledge to do to prevent bullying in your school or in your community, or maybe you dance or in a sport club? So where is the bullying happening? So what is one thing that you personally pledge to do to prevent bullying? So I pledge to prevent bullying by maybe showing empathy, maybe checking in with that person, maybe standing up for them, maybe going and telling a safe adult. What is your pledge? I pledge to prevent bullying by, right? And write that down, make it all colorful, do what you need to do, and maybe you post it up on your fridge or on your wall or somewhere at school or somewhere at work or on your desk. Okay, so this is important, something to look at and make sure that if you see it or if you hear it, that we do something about it. It's super important to remember our impacts of what happens if you see a person being bullied. All right, so I didn't show the last video because you needed sound for it, and I clearly don't have sound the way that the video has transcribed. Won't allow for sound. So sorry about that, but now we're going into questions. If you have any questions or concerns, you can direct them to Rochelle on Facebook, and you guys can always contact our agency, and we will love to help you out with any of those questions or concerns. So I do really appreciate everyone being here with me today. That was awesome. Let's see here. I have no questions so far. That's awesome. I really do appreciate it. I kind of went through it a little fast, but I hope that everyone understood about how to prevent bullying. And again, I do apologize about the videos. Hopefully they work next time. And that's the presentation.
Okay, thanks, Bailey. Even without the videos, that was very interesting and informative. And I hope it really makes the kids think, like there's so much of it going on.
Yes, absolutely.
So you gave them a lot of great ideas of what to do and what to look for. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. That was awesome.
Oh, I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Good. Well, again, if you guys have any questions when you're watching the video, you can contact Bailey or anybody else
Absolutely.
at the Central Alberta Sexual Assault Support Center. And thank you so much for being here this evening.
Thanks, Rochelle. It's nice to talk to you.
You too. Bye-bye.
Yes, bye.